Show me the rights holders agreements that exist that explicitly say you can monetize content you make from Viacom product on YouTube and Twitch. Oh wait, no such thing exists. Music companies have come down super hard on anyone that's messed with their copyright. Listen, Romo Fair, you're an idiot. But then it turns out a couple of days later it was apparently a fake DMCA strike and it wasn't real at all. These rights holders are vicious. They don't care about this. But now it turns out he was lying. I'm not a Destiny sim. I don't know why you're calling me a Destiny sim. Hasan, for all his fucking bravado, was like, oh no, it's over. We've got to stop now. As soon as he got that DMCA. Can you please apologize for calling me an idiot? No, because you're an idiot. Yeah, it's easy for you to say as some fucking chat moron. This is my fucking livelihood we're talking about. Yeah, but Jude, you're a fucking idiot, right? You're so stupid. A watch party, yes, you can do a watch party. Does Hasan do his stuff through watch parties? Does XQC do it for watch parties? No. What I need to do, let me explain. So I've covered the DMCA stuff over a couple of days, okay? Now, within the course of what, 3, 4, 5 days, some of my coverage from just a few days ago is now totally outdated, okay? Because the situation has moved so quickly. People have been banned, people have been unbanned. Also, people have lied about the reasons they've been banned and how long they've been banned for, and have now since been unbanned. So, like, probably 60% of the stuff I've said about particular events is out of date because it's moved so quickly. Right, let's get this segment in the bag, okay? We're going to do a good segment for YouTube, so it's nice and easy for DK editing to sort out, okay? Thank you for watching that video. Or thank you for watching the video. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know where this is going. Basically, just subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. Just hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 10k subs by the end of January. So, I don't know. Is this too long? You probably have to edit this a bit. Here's the situation, all right? I spoke about this at length for a period of days. But the circumstances have changed so quickly on it over the period of a couple of days that, like, stuff that I said 2 days ago is now outdated, yeah? For example, okay, the streamer, is it Disguised Toast, basically got banned for watching anime on stream. They lied on, well, they said it was for a month, and everyone was going, what, a month? That's too long. And my take on it was, well, that seems to me like Twitch is maybe cracking down and issuing more stringent bans, which for the time seemed like a legitimate analysis. But now it turns out he was lying, and he was only banned for 2 days. And the reason that Toast did that allegedly is to apparently to scare people into, like, not watching anime anymore. And you just sat there like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Okay, there we go. January 5th. 1 week. 1 week before I got banned, I messaged one Lily Pichu with an "Hey bruh." She hit me with the sup. I'm going to need you to DMCA strike me. Don't tell anyone though. Why? To scare people from watching anime. Is this going to work? How do I DMCA strike you? If you do it while I'm live on Twitch, it would scare a lot of people.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, he lied by omission though, because he said, he said, well, I'll see you in 30 days or a month or something like that. It was something along those lines. He didn't specifically say, I've been suspended for a month. He didn't say that, sure. But, I mean, come on. Everyone that read that tweet thought that what he was saying was, I have been suspended for a month for watching anime on stream. Okay? Like, come on. Literally look, a month is a little extreme. Yeah? A month is harsh. Like, everyone thought that this was as a result. So the idea that, oh, well, he wasn't... Now, come on. Let's call it what it is, all right? This is a lie. This is a lie, okay? Now, I don't know this guy. I don't know what his motives are, but I just felt it was you know, disingenuous. And also it's annoying because it means my coverage, once again, is out of date, okay? Another example, okay, is obviously we were talking about Hasan and Hasan watching MasterChef. Hasan then got a DMCA ban, so I was obviously like, well, there we go, I told you so, I told you that was going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, obviously feeling a bit fucking smug about the situation. You understand how difficult it is to be right so often. I've been fucking saying it from the start. All these people were disagreeing with me. All these people saying I'm wrong. But no, a little message from Twitch staff and I'm proven correct. There we go. Thank you very much. Any more questions? But then it turns out a couple of days later it was apparently a fake DMCA strike and it wasn't real at all. And now Hasan is back to watching MasterChef. And it's so frustrating because all of these things that are changing, adapting, this is happening, that is happening, none of it changes the fundamental points and the fundamental arguments that are at play here. None of that has changed from the start, but it can look like it has changed as a result of all of these different moving parts happening, okay? So really, what I wanted to do is just kind of clarify my thoughts and positions on the whole affair, okay? And we're going to be speaking about like Pokimane, Hasan, mainly so we can put them in the thumbnail and get some of those juicy views. But I will be giving you some takes which I think are quite valid, okay? So, I haven't written anything down, just to be clear. I never write anything down for this. I like to go off the cuff. So hopefully I cover everything I've got in my head. Okay? So what should we do? I need something visual. Shall I play? I'm just going to play Slitheroo so I don't get distracted, okay? Is that okay with you? Can I play Slitheroo? Just so there's something a bit visual going on. And I don't want to get distracted by playing Apex or something, alright? How does that sound? Play MasterChef. I need OC because otherwise I might get clapped when this goes onto YouTube. Okay. So what is the fundamental issue at play here, okay? So, what we need to do is we need to first of all put aside any arguments or points that we might have about DMCA in terms of prescriptive thoughts or prescriptive ideas, okay? The reason is that it doesn't really matter what your take on copyright is, all right? For what it's worth, I think copyright is kind of somewhat weighted towards the big studios, okay? And yeah, you know what? It does suck. It does suck that like it is incredibly restrictive in terms of creativity. You know, in certain circumstances. I think that like Content ID is an example of some of the extremities that can be come to if we're trying to adhere to like copyright legislation and DMCA. And yeah, it's kind of suffocating, right? I did a really, you know, not to suck myself off too much, I did a really good video about The Master of Disguise and whether it was filmed on September the 11th, whether part of the film was filmed on September 11th, the Turtle Club scene, all right? I thought that was really good content. It went onto YouTube, and it got Content ID'd because I'd watched the trailer. Because I'd watched the trailer as part of my coverage. What? The advert for the film? I'm really going to get Content ID'd because I watched the advert for the film as part of my coverage? If anything, it makes you more likely to see it, surely, because you're watching the trailer too. Do you see what I mean? Do you see how absurd that is? But nonetheless, that is what it is. That's Content ID for you, okay? So I could contest that, and I could take that to court with whoever the rights holder are, and I could argue it's fair use. And I think that I would have a really strong argument for that whole thing being fair use. But I can't. What am I going to do? Where am I going to get the money from? There's no way I can take that to court. It's not going to be worth it for the size of a YouTube video that it was either. But nonetheless, it is a bit suffocating to have that happen, okay? So, do I think copyright is perfect? No. I think there's a number of changes that you can make to the copyright system. One example off the top of my head is you could reduce the amount of time that something is under copyright for, okay? So you could have it where you have a shorter amount of time or a shorter amount of time after someone dies or whatever it may be before it enters the public domain. I don't know exactly what it looks like, right? But I think that that's kind of quite an agreeable take all round. Does anyone disagree that one thing we could do to improve copyright is we could reduce the amount of time that before something enters public domain? I think that's a fairly reasonable take, okay? In any case, you know, there's that perspective on it, but we need to put that to one side because what we need to do is we need to actually consider what is the descriptive reality, okay? Because that is the descriptive reality we need to deal with if we're talking about this issue, right? And the reality at the moment is this. Video platforms like Twitch benefit from being in what's called safe harbor, okay? Now, what that means is that Twitch, as long as they take sufficient action against claims that copyright material is being hosted on their platform, they cannot be sued for like breaching copyright, essentially, as long as they're taking reasonable action to remove it, right? Now, YouTube's response after getting sued by Viacom in 2007 was to create the Content ID system. The Content ID system, essentially, is YouTube's way of retaining safe harbor. And it's like dropping a nuke on an ant, okay? Because how it works is rights holders essentially upload or make aware to YouTube stuff they have the rights to, okay? And if you upload content that's in that database, the algorithm searches your video. If there's a match, you can't monetize your video for yourself. The video may well get monetized, but any ad revenue that's accrued from that video will go to the rights holder. Yeah? Now, there are benefits to creators. So, for example, if you're a creator and that happens, you don't receive a copyright strike anymore. It's just picked up by Content ID. You don't get a copyright strike. Easy peasy. Okay? It's also quite easy to file a fair use claim, but that is then reviewed by the rights holder and they can either say it's okay or they can deny it and pass that as court. So it's, again, not perfect, but it's a fairly reasonable system if you're just uploading videos. Yes, it can be restrictive and stuff, but at least it doesn't mean the end of your channel if you happen to upload a 30-second clip of a movie or something like that, right? So that's pretty based. Now, there are still manual copyright strikes that happen, okay? So it doesn't mean it's completely solved. But it does help to resolve quite a lot of the headaches that come about creating content, especially if you're utilizing other people's content to do so, okay? Live streaming is different though, all right? With live streaming, yeah, if you are watching content on stream, right, that has got like a copyright associated with it, if it's content ID'd, normally your stream just gets taken down. No harm, no foul, okay? But outside of that even, if you have a DMCA request filed against you and you're taken down with a copyright strike, that means that you can't stream live to the channel for 90 days, potentially, in some cases. And you have to file an appeal in order to try and get it overturned, yeah? No, it's not true for playing video games, Dust Bowl, you're wrong. I'll explain why you're wrong in a second, okay? So, Content ID and YouTube system... No, it's not. You're wrong. I'll tell you why in a sec. Is it's frustrating to say the least, okay? So the whole point and the whole reason that there's a big hoo-ha about this, and the reason that I'm frustrated about it all, is because you have streamers that are essentially pushing boundaries and testing limits, which could eventually result in a system like Content ID being implemented on Twitch. Now, some say it's just a matter of time. That may be, okay? Who knows? But that doesn't mean that you excuse any action that could be escalating or furthering that, you know? And also, the more extreme people take it, the stricter the consequences could be if a system like that is implemented. Imagine on Twitch, if you were like watching a video or doing something else, or you were playing a video game with copyright music in, and just doing that action takes the stream down. That is a feasible scenario that could occur should Twitch go down the route of like the YouTube style, content policing that they do when it comes to copyright. Yeah. So the key point here is, as a collective of streamers, we all just ought to be a bit careful about the content we choose to watch on stream. Now, there's nothing wrong with React content, okay? Yeah, it did happen. But the thing is with that is that the reason that it started to happen with GTA 5 streams is because the music industry created tools in order to facilitate that. Do you see what I mean? So that's the point, is the more attention you draw to it, Twitch could implement tools, but also rights holders start to pay attention and they start to implement things which will fuck us over too. Do you see what I mean? So anyway, okay, here's the situation, okay? We, as streamers, as a collective, should have a little bit of consideration of the fact that, especially big streamers, your actions, okay, will have an impact on all of us, potentially, all right? Now, look, I've been like kind of critical of Hasan for like his action. I do think it's worth noting, though, And I have said that I don't. Obviously, there's like different tiers of risks to this. Okay, my biggest criticism of Hasan is the way in which he kind of handled and took some of the critiques that he got. And that was alongside other critiques that I had in regards to his kind of style, where he'll put a video on and walk away, for example. I think that's kind of just shitty behavior generally. But the reality of it is, right, whilst I think there's still a risk associated with it, obviously the risk of watching old MasterChef shows is not as big as other things, and that's what frustrated me a bit with my original coverage. Is the main thrust of what I spoke about was Pokimane. Like, my criticism was mainly of Pokimane at the start of the stream because she happened to be watching anime on stream from Viacom. Like, that's literally as red rag to a bull as you can get. Viacom are the reason that YouTube set up Content ID. It's literally the worst people you could play chicken with this stuff. And then I started speaking about Hasan, and spoke about the MasterChef streams and stuff. And what frustrated me was, like, I was then started watching some other content that demonstrated Hasan's really poor kind of conduct when it comes to reacting to content. And Hasan simps were trying to argue with me that, like, not watching 20 or 30% of a video when you're reacting to it because you've gone off to cook something is somehow acceptable. And I was saying, like, nah, I don't think that is. I don't think that's cool. And also, like, Hasan was then reacting to critiques from the creator of the video in a very obnoxious way. Again, critical of that too. But yeah, in terms of Hasan's role in all of this, Hasan's logic is, well, if a content is older, it might be that the rights holder isn't as litigious when it comes to chasing copyright. And I just don't think that that's a game that's worth playing, personally. I don't think that's a game that's worth playing. I just think you're asking for trouble when you're playing with fire. If you're watching, full episodes... If you're watching full episodes of any TV show, unless it's public domain,
welcome to Chud
just seems
Nation.
like a risk to me, an unnecessary risk. Thank you very much for the sub. Like, especially when there's so much other content you could do or get into, I think there's loads of content you can get into out there, which just carries far less of a risk than watching, like, not only full episodes, but full series of stuff. Wait, Dust Bowl... You Hasan simps are so frustrating. I literally started this out by saying Pokimane was more egregious, and I'm explaining why I started talking about Hasan more in that stream. Anyway, the point is that whilst Hasan's logic is deeply flawed, in my opinion, he is still taking a risk. Absolutely, the real ire in all of this, and the people that I take most issue with, are people like XQC, Pokimane, Disguised Toast. These are people that are sat there watching, like, full-blown anime on stream, right? Whilst I, think that Hasan's logic is flawed, I don't think it's, they're probably not going to chase me down anyway. I think that's very flawed. I think that, like, clearly sitting and watching Hunter x Hunter, or whatever it's called, okay, is crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, you're literally... It's mind-boggling. There was that one person that was asleep with Lord of the Rings playing a little while ago. And it's like, what are you trying to do here? Like, you're literally asking for all of our cheeks to get clapped. Your cheeks will get clapped and all of ours will, through the pure, physics. The shockwave will affect us all. And the other thing as well is, like, in some cases, these people are literally, like, illegally downloading the content they're watching on stream. It's like piracy on top of piracy. Now, look, I'll be honest with you. If you're yourself just downloading a little naughty movie, yeah, it's theft, whatever, I'm not really that... Like, that's not for me to be concerned. Do what you need to do, okay? I'm not going to scold you for that, especially if you haven't got much bob, all right? I'm not gonna. In my time, I'm in a position where I don't have to pirate movies anymore. Okay, I'll watch it at the cinema, or I'll spend a couple of quid for it to rent. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, but especially if you're poor, I don't know. I'm not, like, too concerned about it, right? But if you're talking about illegally pirating something to watch it on stream to like 30,000 people, I don't know. That's another level to me, you know? That's not just, oh, piracy based. That's like you're taking a very inconsiderate action that's going to fuck all of us over potentially. Do you see what I mean? What's this? Hey, Gordon Ramsay, could I get permission to stream Next Level Chef on Twitch? Why would I let you do it on Twitch when I could do it myself? And the answer for you is still no. So yeah, he does know. Like, presumably the rights holders and stuff have got some insight into what's going on, somewhat. Anyway, so let's get into the actual memes, okay? Because there's been a lot of really crap arguments that have been made about this, okay? And this whole escapade has actually helped me to understand a lot more, you know, in regards to how this all works. Do you see what I mean? So one thing you hear is, oh, well, surely streaming is fair use. Streaming's just fair use, though, isn't it? Okay. I'm not prepared for this, by the way. I don't have all the resources at hand for this, just to be clear. Oh, I went back too far. So it's the fair use 4 factors. There we go. Is this it? Is this the one? Here we go. So people will say, oh, but streaming's fair use by its nature, isn't it? If you're commentating on it or you're reacting to it, that makes it fair use. That's not true. Fair use, in a legal sense, in America at least, is determined by these 4 factors, okay? And all of them are taken into account when they're assessing whether something is fair use or not. So just because you're watching something and reacting to something or commentating on something doesn't make it fair use. If that were the case, I could just upload a video onto YouTube or watch a video. I could watch Lord of the Rings on Twitch as long as I'm commentating on it, okay? But you can't do that, obviously. It's highly unlikely that you would be able to argue that's fair use. And the reason is because of this here, okay? So the purpose and character of the use. So the fair use statute itself indicates that non-profit educational purposes are generally favoured over commercial uses, okay? So obviously, if you watch this video on Twitch or you put it on YouTube, it's not non-profit, all right? It's unlikely to be non-profit. So straight away, that's generally going to work against you, okay? However, it does say here, courts also favour uses that are transformative or not merely reproductions. So if you were just sat there and you're watching it eating cereal, occasionally pausing it to make one 2-second comment, it's unlikely that would be considered transformative. But if you have significantly altered the work, then that could be considered transformative. Anyway, it goes on. The nature of the copyrighted work, okay? So basically, this comes down to, like, is it something that's already available? If it's private, if it's not been released yet, that's obviously going to work against you, okay? Use of work that's commercially available specifically for the education market is generally disavowed. Anyway, you get the idea. So this depends on what it is. Is it available? Is it publicly available? Is it a private? Is it not been released yet? And you've got like code from a game, say, that you're watching or talking about. Is it an unreleased movie? So, for example, if you've got a movie that's not out for home release yet, and it's like a copy of a cinema film, that's probably going to work against you, right? The amount of sustainability or the substantiality of the portion used. So this is important too, right? So this comes down to how much of the work you use in your video and whether it's necessary for what you're trying to do, okay? So for example, if you watch a movie review, they'll often include short, relevant clips of the film which are used to make certain points about the movie, okay? Generally speaking, that's going to be considered, one would imagine, to be substantive enough to fit the criteria of the video without going overboard, okay? There's a reason that you don't have you don't have reviews which include the entire film and you're just watching it in its entirety, okay? So that's because you can't really argue for the purposes of a movie review that you would need to include the entirety of the film, yeah? So, there's that. And the 4th factor is the effect of the use on the potential market for or value of the work. Yeah? So this one here is an important aspect of this. Did I change my stream title, by the way? I feel like I didn't change my stream title. So what this comes down to is, what impact will this have market-wise on the product that you're using? Yeah. So hang on a sec. Wrapping up my thoughts on the DMCA discourse. That'll do. So for example, if I'm just like watching a movie in full, it could probably be argued in court that, yeah, that's going to potentially impact the market or the value of that work, right? But again, if I've just got clips in a review, you know, it's you can't really argue that it's having a detrimental impact because the full film isn't in there. But you know, it might even help if matters. Okay. All four of these factors are taken into account, and the important thing to bear in mind is whether something is or is not fair use will inevitably be determined in court. Okay. So you would have to go to court in order to make a legal argument in order to substantiate the fact that it's fair use. So when people say, oh, this is fair use, no one truly knows until they go to court. It's a court that will inevitably decide whether something is fair use or not, okay? Now, applying this analysis, I know people try and argue that, like, watching a full season of MasterChef is fair use. I don't really know if you'd be able to meaningfully argue that in court. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like this idea that, oh, well, this is fair use, you know? Like, I don't think anyone, even like anime or whatever it is, yeah, I don't think that you can argue it's fair use. And as long as we can accept that, that's fine, okay? But yeah, some people try and argue that in some way it's fair use, but there's no way. Like, I doubt very much you'd be able to argue this in court, okay? And you might not care about that, and that's fine. I don't, you know... Yeah, you wouldn't be able to win, yeah. But the thing is, this isn't about what you think about as I've said, we need to put aside our thoughts about what copyright should and shouldn't be, you know? And the other thing to bear in mind with this as well, so yeah, you're right, watching someone else's YouTube video might not be fair use either, especially if you're just watching it and not really commentating on it, right? But to me, this goes beyond just whether it is or isn't fair use anyway. I'm just saying that people that say it definitely is fair use is unlikely to be correct in this case, okay? But this is about risks. This is about the risk of like what could happen based on the idea that we just continue to watch content that is like, you know, copyright content where there's a history of people viciously going after people for breaching the copyright on that property. You know, that's the kind of content we've got to avoid. That's the point I'm making. Anyway, you will often hear people say this as well. You will hear people say, well, it's just like video games, isn't it? Video games are the same as movies. You know, it's copyright content. A games company might come after you for playing their game on stream or having a Let's Play video. What about Nintendo? How many times have people heard Nintendo be referenced? So many times in this discourse. So many times. But Dust Bowl, my point is, I don't minimize harm's a stupid way of putting it. I don't agree with that logic. I don't think that watching TV programs that are 10 years old, you know, is a reasonable risk to take. Other people disagree. That's fine. Well, I disagree with them, and I think it's too much of a risk, and you probably shouldn't do it. Okay, so in terms of the gaming argument, Nintendo. Okay, it's a stupid argument. And I'll explain why. So, let's take Nintendo as an example, okay? Nintendo was notoriously litigious when it came to DMCA on content made about their property, okay? So what happened was, basically, what Nintendo did is back, like, what, 8 years ago or so? In any case, whenever it was, they were copyright striking content creators that were making Let's Play of Nintendo games, okay? Now, eventually, Nintendo got to the point where they were like, right, okay, this isn't working. We need to try something else because people are getting annoyed. So what they did is they set up something called the Nintendo Creators Program, okay? And what the Nintendo Creators Program essentially was like almost like a revenue sharing thing, where you would be like an approved creator, I believe, and you would share income that you made with Nintendo. All right, and this went on for a little while. Okay. However, in 2018, Nintendo scrapped this. They got rid of this in 2018, okay? They completely got rid of this. So bear in mind, this is the most litigious games manufacture, litigious games thing that there was, really, when it came to like this stuff. They scrapped this, and what they did is they implemented a new policy. So they brought about this, the Nintendo Game Content Guidelines for Online Video and Image Sharing Platforms. And within this, what they essentially said is, as long as you follow some rules, we do not object to use of gameplay footage and screenshots. Okay? So within this, you may monetize your videos and channels. Okay? Specified by Nintendo. And what is allowed? Twitch, YouTube. So the point I'm making here is this company, which was originally one of the most egregious, litigious organizations when it came to people using their video game content, has softened its approach enormously. What about other games companies? What are other games companies up to? Well, let's just have a quick look. Xbox has got a very similar agreement, okay? They've got a very similar agreement too. You can make your item available on YouTube or Twitch and participate in programs on those sites that allow you to earn revenue from ads displayed in connection with your item. Okay? So there we go. There's Xbox. What else have we got? Ubisoft. What do Ubisoft say? Using the guidelines below, we encourage you to make creative and dynamic walkthroughs, let's play, speedruns, etc. using Ubisoft game content and publish to your website, YouTube, or similar devices. Okay? You are free to monetize your videos via the YouTube Partner Program and similar programs. Okay? What Capcom saying? Anyway, you get the idea. Okay? All of these, go and look around if you want for yourself, right? But essentially, a lot of the big video game companies have got this kind of policy in place now, where they explicitly allow you in these policies to use their content in this way. And it's the same for lots of different games companies. So the reason that the video game argument being the same as video is so bad is for two reasons. One, there's a precedent now that exists with video game companies wherein essentially they, through various means have demonstrated that they are happy and satisfied and in fact promote the idea that streamers play their games to the point where games companies will pay streamers to play their games on stream. They'll do sponsorship deals, okay?
Pokimane's suspension
What's this
was
mean?
actually orchestrated by Nintendo to prevent her from bringing Melee back to Evo, much like a mafia soldier would instill fear in shopkeepers by destroying a fruit stand.
Thank you very much for the bits, Dr. Butler. And secondly, there are agreements you can read from games publishers, manufacturers, platforms, etc., that explicitly allow you to go out and monetize content on YouTube, Twitch, and so on. So they explicitly allow it in these policies now. So if you think that the equivalence that you make between video games and movie rights holders are the same, okay? Show me the same thing for movies. Show me the precedent that's been set that rights holders are permissive of streamers and YouTubers monetizing their content. And secondly, show me the rights holders agreements that exist that explicitly say you can monetize content you make from Viacom product on YouTube and Twitch. Oh wait, no such thing exists. No such thing exists. No such thing exists, does it? Because historically, every single time, movie companies and music companies have come down super hard on anyone that's messed with their copyright, okay? And no such agreement exists either. Now listen, look, here's Jude. Jude, another Hasan dick rider. It's almost like the game developers see that there's a benefit to having streamers show their shit, like it's something that changed over time. Great. Well, I tell you what, if it changes over time, fantastic. That's going to be great for everyone, okay? That's going to be fantastic for everyone if after a period of time, rights holders go, do you know what, this streaming malarkey is actually quite good for us. But these agreements should be agreed like ahead of time, and we should have a bit more, preciseness of what's going on, rather than just doing what we think and going, well, it'll be all right. It's probably going to benefit them anyway. It's a post hoc rationalization. Do you see what I mean? Okay, Dust Bowl, maybe they will. And if they do, we'll talk about it then. But this is the precedent that's been set at this point. We can't tell what the future holds. Do you see what I mean? Like, yeah, that could change. Sure, movie companies could change. But as it stands today, this is how it is. Why haven't the episodes been nuked off YouTube? Content ID has been so dreadful. Jude, you just don't know what you're talking about. If you upload something and Content ID picks it up, it stops you from monetizing the video, and it gives the money that you make to the rights holder. Even sometimes if it could easily be argued to be fair use, in my opinion. And some of those channels are the rights holders' channels as well. And at the end of the day, I don't mind if I watch someone's film and they get the money from it. Whatever, like, that's what it is, right? But if Content ID were to be introduced, Hasan watching all of that MasterChef, the money would likely go to fucking to the company. So Hasan would have to stop watching it then for that reason. I'm not a Destiny simp. I don't know why you're calling me a Destiny simp. So if you like watching Hasan watch MasterChef, yeah, that would be a bad outcome for you as well, because the money that would be made would potentially go to the rights holder. So that for that reason, he'd have to stop it anyway. The best thing that can happen at this point is, honestly, like, look, at the end of the day, if anyone wants to come in a bit and talk to me about, I am completely correct about this video game thing, okay? This is literally watertight. You cannot argue that the comparison between video games and movies is the same, because the reality of the two things is very different. There is none of this for movies or TV shows. It doesn't exist because these rights holders are vicious. They don't care about this. If it changes, great. Listen, Romo Fett, you're an idiot, okay? I'm not asking you about the profits of a company. At no point have I said, we should worry about the fact the companies are losing money. It's not about that. It's the action that they'll take that will affect all of us negatively. I am correct, 1,000,000%, okay? Go and speak to any video game person in the know in the video game industry, and they'll say to you, yes, video game companies now are cool with streaming because it helps them. And this is a precedent that's been set. The agreements exist. Right? There we go. Done deal. It's not the same. Anyway, the fact that the idea that this is fair use, alternatively, the video games are the same thing. Those are the two arguments that I've seen that were the most egregious and most wrong. Okay? It's not a precedent. It's only that they haven't noticed, Jude. The only reason those other streamers got away with it is because no one seemingly noticed it. All right? This was going on YouTube for years. It was only when Viacom sued them that it came to a head, and it was like, oh shit, we need to fucking sort this out.
Welcome to Chud.
Hey, thanks for the sub,
Sid
appreciate
Machinery
it.
gifted a tier 1 sub to Dilsp33D. They have given 4 gift subs in the channel.
Yeah, this is recently, Jude. You're talking about stuff that happened ages ago. Anyway, listen, you Hasan simps are absolutely insufferable, okay? Fuck off and go and watch Hasan. And maybe he's not live. Honestly, you're absolutely insufferable. All these post hoc rationalizations for what's going on. Like, it's so easy. It's so easy to just go, like I've already said, I don't think watching MasterChef, obviously, is not the same as watching like an anime on stream. Do you see what I mean? Like, obviously not, no. But in my opinion, it's still too big of a risk to take that chance. If he wants to take that chance, that's up to him. If it ends up fucking us all over, then it ends up fucking us all over. There's nothing I can do to change what Hasan does. And it's funny because when he got that DMCA strike, although it turned out to be fake, everyone was like, oh my God, no, we got to stop this. Do you see what I mean? And that's what's so funny about it. It's like, yeah, when you thought you'd been caught, you were willing to put a stop to it. But now we're just going to go back to, well, they're not going to figure it out anyway, so who cares? It's crazy. Anyway, I want to wrap this up. I want to wrap this up by saying, well, no, it didn't. No, it didn't work out at all because the core arguments didn't change. The core arguments didn't change, and everyone thought that was a real DMCA. Everyone did. Even Hasan thought it was a real DMCA. Hasan, for all his fucking bravado, was like, "Oh no, it's over. We got to stop now." As soon as he got that DMCA, it's only with the passage of time that we turned out it was fake. But yeah, everyone thought it was real. So no, I'm still feeling very smug about the situation. If someone was just like, yeah, it's kind of shitty, but I enjoy it. That's the Sigma kind of thing I can appreciate. It's these constant fucking attempts to justify it. That's what annoys me. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, continue defending the millionaire streamer with like all these viewers. Honestly, I don't get it, right? I get it if it was maybe someone a bit smaller or something like that maybe. But the fact is like some person doesn't even know you exist is the funniest thing of all to me. Can you please apologise for calling me an idiot? No, because you're an idiot. I'm calling you what you are, Romo Fett, okay? Listen, I feel bad for you, but you're an idiot. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got to say on it, really. Yeah, the thing is, right, okay, do you know what's funny, right? Most of this, I even said earlier, Hasan's thing is that, but then Hasan simps come in and they assume everything's about him. The crux of my critique earlier was talking about people like fucking Disguised Toast and Pokimane. I didn't mention XQC, but XQC is particularly egregious too. But all the Hasan simps come in and they've got to make it all about Hasan. I've already said that, like, yeah, Hasan doesn't think it's a risk. I think it's a risk. That's it. That's my disagreement with Hasan in, summarised, really. And Hasan knows it's a risk. Hasan says, no, he says it's not a risk. He still reacted the way that he reacted when he got that DMCA strike. He still reacted as, I've got to stop this right now. Do you see what I mean? It wasn't like he was there going, well, this is fake, so what does it matter? No, he himself was like, oh shit, I've got to put a stop to this. Romo Fair, I'm literally never going to apologise for calling you an idiot because I believe that you are, and I think it's true. You're lucky I'm not using harsher words to describe you. Seriously, Jesus. Whew. Yeah, all this talk of the morality of the copyright. Listen, If people want to like substantive react to a movie on stream, like, yeah, I think that's like whatever. Like, if someone wants to sit there and break down every scene as they go through it, I see no reason why that shouldn't be allowed. But it's not about what I think it should be. It's about the reality, knowing these movie companies are so vicious. Do you see what I mean? But the basic point I'm making is that, with me, I'm saying, okay, the risk could be severe, so stop doing it. If everyone stops doing it, the risk stops, and we don't have to we don't have to fuck around and find out. But the other token is, well, it could be, it could not be a risk, it could be, but we'll try it anyway. That's going to lead to bad outcomes potentially. My way doesn't lead to bad outcomes. If you follow my thoughts on this, all it means is that Hasan has got to put a bit more effort into his stream, and that's surely going to be better for you as viewers. Isn't that going to be better for you as viewers if Hasan puts a bit more effort in to bring more engaging content to you? I don't just care, and I just don't care and don't think blaming big streamers for bringing the law down to us things to care about. Listen, you're not a fucking streamer though. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's easy for you to say as some fucking chat moron when you're. This is my fucking livelihood we're talking about, okay? This isn't just fucking getting some entertainment a couple of hours a day. This is something that will affect me potentially. So yeah, it's easy to sit there as a chatter and go, I don't think we need to worry about this. Fine, I do, because I'm a streamer. You don't have to worry about fuck all. The reason that it affects me is because of what systems could be put into a place if people keep pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable with DMCA. That's how it could affect me. The problem with how litigious, the issue you've got with how litigious companies are is you cannot be certain of that. You don't know for sure. You're guessing. You're basically guessing. Because no one here really knows. Like, you can kind of make some broad judgments. Like, yeah, sure. Lord of the Rings, they're probably going to come for that harder than they would an old season of MasterChef. But even so, that doesn't mean, that old season of MasterChef could still be something which you're running the risk of getting DMCA'd for on stream. I am very excited for the AMA. It's going to be great.
Hey, thanks a lot. That's really generous of you.
Hey, Nerdsworth, thanks for the $5. Yeah, but Jude, you're a fucking idiot, right? You're so stupid. A watch party, yes, you can do a watch party. Does Hasan do his stuff through watch parties? Does XQC do it for watch parties? No. If they were using a watch party, it wouldn't make any fucking difference, would it? I wouldn't be talking about this because that's a legitimate way to do it. So yeah, if people, like, I could obviously do a watch party, but if I illicitly downloaded, you know, the latest episode of The Boys, like, who is it? Pokimane did with that anime, and started watching it on stream, yeah, I'd get absolutely rogered probably. Anyway, in any case, yeah, I'm done with this discourse. It's moving so fast. Anything I say firmly about this particular event that's happened will probably be disproven within the next day anyway. So I'm gonna, you know, I think everyone's kind of done talking about it. My final message is like, you know, just don't watch fucking, definitely don't watch fucking latest anime. That's mental. Or like super high tier anime stuff or movies. Like, you're just asking for trouble, right? Older TV shows certainly carry less of a risk. In my opinion, I think it's still enough of a risk that you shouldn't do it. Perhaps you disagree. I'm probably not going to be able to change your mind in any case. Yeah. No, come on, DK Editing, chill out, okay? Let's be kind now. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, I'm timing them out. Don't worry. I'm timing them out. I've timed him out. That was naughty. My apologies for the conduct of my editor. Fuck's sake. This is what happens. This is the kind of abuse I enable. DK Editing. Yeah, that's right. So DK Editing has been put on unpaid leave for the next week. I will no longer be giving him any exposure. Okay? So yeah. There you go, see. No exposure for you for a week. How about that?
His content is not that. Like, that, what it comes down to is he just does not want to do that content.
That's fine, but he's a pussy ass bitch. There we go. I said it. It is what it is. He doesn't want to speak to people outside of his echo chamber. If he's going to have that as his content, I'll call him a pussy ass bitch. There we go. He's fucking leftist Stephen Crowder for dodging that debate with two
never recover from this scathing fucking takedown.
Okay, wait. I just want to point out.
Listen, bro. It doesn't matter how much you fucking suck his dick in this chat. He's never going to know who you are. And if he did, he'd think you're a piece of shit. Continue.
Okay, Chud.